OBS is green. YouTube is green. And that is green. You sent out the alert 1. I've sent out alert 2. And 3. And so we are properly live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to League 1, Season 12, Week 10, Sunday afternoon doubleheader. First, we have number 19, Syracuse, away at Wake Forest, followed by a user-user matchup of blitzed Krieg's Central Michigan University at my Coach Ninja's United States Naval Academy. So without further ado, we'll have Coach Spectre, coach of Syracuse University, walk you through the Wake Forest roster, and then we'll get kicked off. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, sports fans. Coach Spectre here, the coach of the Syracuse Orange. We're coming into the game ranked 19th in the top 25. So far, the only user team in the top 25, but we face a stiff challenge, a road ACC matchup against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, led by senior quarterback John Walford, who's got 88 awareness. He's an 89 overall. He's got enough speed to do damage. You see on the season his touchdown to interception ratio at 12-5, and his rating fairly healthy, 133. Doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes, isn't very explosive, but our secondary is our weak spot of the entire team, so we expect him to have some success against us today. We just hope to rein him in. In the rushing game, he adds about 24 yards a game with 80 carries, so a few designed runs and a few scrambles, but that 78 speed keeps him from being too dangerous. Of course, we say that now. He may break one. At halfback, Cade Carney is injured but does return this game. He's probable, meaning he will play. He's an 80 overall, and he's extremely quick. He's got 50 yards per game. Of course, he may have been injured in a game, so that yards per game may be artificially low. The fullback is a tight end with a fantastic name, LaRondé Liverpool, but he is a borrowed player from another position. Wide receiver, they're led by freshman Greg Dortch, an 88 overall who's averaging over 100 yards a game. He is deadly, he is fierce, and he is a weapon that we will be keeping an eye on everywhere he is on the field. Fortunately, he's an impact player. He'll have that nice juicy star on him for us to be able to locate him on the field. The rest of the receivers, you see 30 yards a game for Dabari Hines and 5.6 yards per game, followed by not much else, 6 yards per game. So really a two wide receiver set. Their second leading receiver being the tight end, who's nasty, a 91, Cam Serene, who is averaging 60 yards a game. That's quite healthy for a tight end. He does have 4 touchdowns, and he's got 10 yards a catch. That's mainly due to his athleticism. You see his 87 speed, 90 awareness, great agility, acceleration, and catching. He's just a solid tight end. He is, after all, a 91. So we're going to be alternating between covering Serene and focusing on Dortch on third down plays. The left side of their line is deadly, led by Justin Herron, the left tackle, is an 87, and Phil Haynes, the left guard, is an 87, and Ryan Anderson, the 90 center. Right side, not so much. We're hoping to attack that part of the offense. Osterhage is a 75 overall, and Benzinger will return from injury. He's listed as probable as well as a 73. So the right side of the line will be where we'll be focusing most of our attack on defense. The left side, though, we're going to be vulnerable to some left side runs probably. Left end, he is out. Duke Ejiofor is listed as being out for another 5 weeks. We won't see him today, thank goodness. Although Calhoun does have enough speed to be somewhat dangerous on the left end position. Dunn adding a little bit of solidity there on the right end's position. Defensive tackle, not so much. Hopefully they'll have the four-man front, and we'll be able to get some yards up the gut in between the tackles, as those defensive tackles are somewhat vulnerable. Of course, we do have the sliders set for extremely difficult standards, so every play will be difficult, despite the fact that their linebacking core is weak as well, with Justin Strnad from the left outside linebacker, a 76 senior middle linebacker, and a 75 senior impact player right outside linebacker. Now, he's getting a couple of sacks, and he's got a couple tackles for loss. We'll be interested to see if that speed overcomes the overall rating. Cornerback Asang Bassi is the leader, an 86 overall. And if they go nickel, they've still got some depth with Henderson and Giles. But any dime or quarter defense, and we're going to be trying to spot number 2 and number 24 in the defensive backfield to target them. Great sophomore free safety, Jesse Bates III, an 85 sophomore, quite solid. We're going to be hesitant to throw anything super deep. And safety, Demetrius Kemp, rounds out the defense. So overall, some fast defensive ends, a little bit of vulnerability, defensive tackle and at linebacker. Secondary has a couple of stars, with the cornerback 1 and the free safety 1, quite good. The kicker, star player, a 90, and he's got great kicking power and accuracy, so they will be able to make a lot of kicks. But really the main game plan is going to be Wolford stopping him on third down and focusing on both Dortch and Serene. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it back over to Coach Ninja. He's going to give you the play-by-play for this game. We're going to treat this like any other game. Games have been super difficult this season with these sliders the way they are. So we're just hoping to get out of North Carolina with a win at any cost.
All right. Thank you, Coach. All right. And with that, we are ready to get started. Number 1 in the country in points per game for Syracuse, but the total defense of Wake and pass defense of Wake are both quite respectable. They are in the negative on turnover differential, however, and don't have as good on any of the offensive metrics. Yeah, it certainly can be wildfire. It certainly can be. Although apparently, one of our friends in the league just had to warranty his disc with GameStop, and the price had gone down. So they gave him some cash back. Apparently, so depending on where you are, I might take another look. I know I was lucky enough to buy a digital copy when that was available, but I know that's no longer available, and that's a shame. Looking at a number of visits for Wake Forest this week as they're home, and it's late in the season. And as we talked about, number 34 against the pass and number 38 passing, but other than that, a lot of their other Wake Forest metrics are not nearly as good as the number 1 in points per game, number 16 in yards per game, and number 1 rush defense of the Syracuse Orange.
Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is
I have not, Wildfire. I've not heard of them.
one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life in me, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're gonna do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen.
Spanning more than 10 successful seasons and covering the country from California, Ohio, North Carolina, and Virginia, this is League One NCAA football.
Both teams are lining up for the kickoff. We're just about set to get this one underway.
All right. Hoff Richter with the kick.
He sends this one deep.
Right in the middle of the letters, and Wake will knee the ball down for the touchback. We see a 2 tight end set here. We do know that the tight ends play fullback, so we'll have to see what they do on the field. And it looks like, yeah, that was Liverpool playing the second tight end, playing fullback out there on the left when the defense came through and stopped for no gain. Wolford to Dortch, who breaks the first tackle and is eventually muscled down after 47 yards. See both tight ends now right side of the field. And Cade Carney gets 0 yards. And the defense brings pressure that time, forces the throwaway. It's now 3rd and 10. Interesting name for a team, Wildfire. We don't have any fictional teams in our league, but I can't admit to knowing that Appalachian State existed until a couple of years ago. As Black comes through the line, Hines makes the reception, but it's only for 3 yards. So Wake Forest has now 3rd and 8 on the 25. Looks like they are 4th and 8 on the 25. And they are kicking it.
Wake Forest to take the lead with this field goal. He gets it up and it's long enough, and he just drilled it from
Yeah, that's part of the reason why we stream the way we do, Wildfire. I'm not actually playing the game right now. I'm Coach Ninja. I'll be playing my game later. It's Coach Spectre who's the coach of Syracuse. And we double team it, yeah, to provide that commentary because the game commentary isn't great and because trying to commentate on your own game as you play it is difficult. Phillips catches it. Gets to the 14-yard line.
One thing I've seen is his ability to make good decisions. I mean, time after time, he just avoids the mistakes. And when you can do that as a quarterback and as a leader of an offense, you're going to move the football down the field.
So let's see what the offense can do as they come out onto the field.
4 down linemen here. We know that the 2 D tackles in the middle are not great. And Ishmael gets 4 yards on the first down of the game ritual. The Syracuse Orange. The middle slant out of the 5 wide. Good afternoon, Coach. Good to see you. Second and 6, half back on the weak side, tight end to the right. Strickland gets tied up on the line, 2 yards. 3rd and 5 for the Orange. Still 4 down linemen on 3rd down. And Dungy can't get out, can't escape the speed. Loses 2 yards. And Syracuse will punt it away. Phenomenal punt, great bounce. It touched the grass on the 50, but it's touched after by a Syracuse player after it stops bouncing at the 19. That is a huge change of field position. Perfectly placed punt. Looks like tight ends on the left and the fullbacks behind the quarterback. Carney gets 4 yards up the gut. The thing I will say, Wildfire, is that I was quite terrible to start with. I never played much Madden at all. I played maybe 3 or 4 games of Madden before I started playing NCAA. There's a lot in NCAA that you can learn just by learning how to call the right plays and the right formations and use the right matchups as a run bounces outside after a missed tackle to get the first down. But Black comes through on a looping charge for the sack.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone, and another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna cut them too. Another one bites the dust. Shoot out.
They find themselves in a hole here after that sack.
Second and very long here. 4 down linemen again. This time 2 tight ends are in the ace formation. And it's thrown away to Hines. He gets 13, which isn't everything. But that was a fantastic throw falling backwards, essentially, by Wolford. Which is something that you see more and more of on these very difficult sliders. As we have the tight end is motioning to the right. And Wolford runs 7 yards for the first down. And we're seeing hurry up here from Wake Forest. And with one missed tackle, Dortch runs 56 yards for the touchdown. Well, have a good one, Wildfire. It was nice to have you. Deep in the end zone for Phillips. He comes out. And that's the 10-yard line there for Phillips. Drag routes deflected there for Dungy. It's going to be 2nd and 10 on the 10. And is wide open, but this earlier in the game, Dungy is cold and throws it off target. Forced out of the pocket. A lot of defenders there, and he gets 2 of them, but the third one forces the punt. A good bounce again. This time Wade is closer. And he's tackled at midfield. Carney continuing to break tackles. And Dortch gets his 2nd touchdown of the game. 17-0 Wake. Or sorry, 16-0 pending extra point. Wake scoring very quickly on all of their drives. This time Phillips takes the knee and the touchback. Strickland 5 yards on first down. Riley, 9 yards, most of it after the catch on a short drag. Syracuse now 2 for 4, trying to get Dungey warmed up. Scrambles to the right this time. Can't get the ball out and loses a yard.
It's second down and 11 to go. Ball on the 38-yard line. Now he tries to buy some time.
Sean Riley again 7 yards, makes it 3rd and 5. Smart play, much more manageable down in distance for Dungey, who's been having to run for his life. Strickland in the angle route out of the backfield gets 8 yards and first down.
From the 47-yard line. First down.
Three yards out of a heavy set to Strickland, gets some rest for Dungey, and is a definite win in the coach's playbook. Ishmael catches the drag route and looks upfield. He sees some potential blocking out in the flat to his left, so he continues to make the lateral move towards the sideline rather than turning upfield. A crafty play that unfortunately didn't do too much for him this time. However, Ishmael is there on the big.
Yeah, this guy's got balance, control, and his great instincts when it comes to catching the football. Good looking at him.
And it was a whale of a pass to Ishmael for big yardage into the red zone. Another handoff to Strickland. This time a defender comes through and Strickland makes no gain. 2nd and 10.
And this is the 10th play of the drive.
Shotgun ace here. Another angle route for Strickland. He gets 10 yards, and good ball placement and control puts it over the first down marker. It's 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. 5 seconds left to go.
Digging in with their goal line set. Trying to counter a 5-wide set. What do they think? Fires in there, got it, touchdown.
Crafty play there, calling a formation with a halfback in the slot to get the touchdown. Caused the defense to bring out a run defense when they had 5 guys up on the line of scrimmage out as wideouts. And with 1 second left to go in the first quarter, Syracuse gets a little bit more momentum back. It's still mostly going to be in Wake's favor, but it's now only a 10-point game. Wake, once again, takes the touchback. Wake continuing with this 2 tight end, shall we call it variety. They seem to be putting the tight ends in different places every time. This time, Cade Carney is slowed up enough by the first man that the second man makes the sure tackle as the first quarter ends.
Have the upset of the week on our hands. 17-7, Wake Forest. And we're ready for more football here in quarter number 2.
We've got an ace here and a wide receiver in motion from left to right. And the quarterback is flushed and sacked.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone, and another one gone.
3rd and 12, a long 3rd down. The Orange have Wake Forest exactly where they want them.
Now he's scrambling. And he's immediately tackled.
And all the time in the world for Wolford gets a pass for the first down. And now they are in hurry up to keep this quarter on the field. And the touchdown-saving tackle on the sideline, 42-yard pass to Hines. And continuing with a hurry-up.
And that's the perfect time to be able to call play action. This defense is on its heels. They're guessing with the offense. That time they guessed wrong, and the result is a big play for the offense. This quarterback is tough as nails. Brad, he's going to sit in that pocket and give himself a chance. The only problem is, at some point, you've got to have a feel, almost that sixth sense on when to get out of there and avoid the pressure, or just to throw the ball before you get hit.
Both teams in heavy sets now.
Second down. Defense and their short yardage packing. Throws to the receiver.
And Dortch gets a 5-yard touchdown to bring the lead back.
And he tacks on the extra point. A 7-play, 76-yard drive. And they get it in for 7.
Brad, how about the guys up front? The offensive line giving the quarterback plenty of time to be able to read the defense and make the right throw.
Excellent kick. The kicker looks like he's ready to kick this one off. He's got the corner. And he shoved out of bounds around the 24.
Phillips this time to the 24. Better blocking.
This kind of production and the way these quarterbacks are playing, both teams are challenging both of these defenses.
Things are on the verge of getting out of hand before we even hit the half. These next few drives are going to go a long way in determining what kind of game this will end up being.
And Ishmael, another long one for 21 yards.
From their own 44-yard line. First
Dungy now 9 for 11. It's warmed up a little.
he's scrambling. Makes the grab and steps out.
And Riley with a fantastic diving catch for 21 yards. That's 42 yards in 2 plays. Great job there by Dungy to get the ball off just in time. And now, as Dungy needs a bit of a... Oh, nope, Dungy's still on the field as we see a heavier formation.
Scrambling around.
And he tosses it just a bit to Tyrell Richards to avoid getting the sack, or the tackle, I should say. Just didn't want to take the hit. Still took a little bit of something from the run.
From the 34-yard line. Second down.
And now we see the flex bone here. Perkins in motion. Fantastic blocking. Dungy gets 11 yards.
They are stringing together a nice little drive here. If they keep this up, it'll be hard to keep them out of the end zone.
This time we see Mahoney. And that's 4 yards up the gut for Strickland. He's got a 2.8 yard average on 5 touches. And he's also got quite a few yards in the passing game.
It's second down. He scrambled. Decides to slide.
As the receivers, including Strickland coming out of the backfield, clear out the defenders, and there's a wide open space for the scramble for good yardage and the slide for safety. First and goal from the 8 for Syracuse.
First down, and they've got their eyes on that goal line.
Once again, Mahoney in the heavy set. Strickland gets 2. Second and goal on the 6. We see 5 wide.
Quarterback in the gun, empty backfield, 5 wide receivers in the formation.
And Dungy runs for it to get the touchdown. And it's back to a 10-point game for Syracuse.
Do it now, Toast, do it now. Let's go.
They're ready for the kick. And he got all of this one.
Deep in the end zone, Dortch knees it down.
And it goes into the end zone, down for a touchback.
Now it's once again up to the Syracuse defense to see if they can't get a stop.
These two teams are facing. On one side, you've got to find a way to
Only one tight end this time, 3 wide receivers. Different formation on offense for Wake. And the defender comes through for the 3rd sack of the game.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust.
And now we see the return to the 2 tight end set.
Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get to do. Another one bites the dust. Shoot out.
He's taken down at about the 29.
Carney with great vision and cannot escape the leg tackle. Makes it 3rd and 6. And the sack on 3rd down is exactly what the doctor ordered.
To make really quick decisions because he doesn't have any time to throw
Yeah.
the ball. That's going to lead to turnovers.
Taking care of business every day. Taking care of business every way. I've been taking care of business. It's alright. Taking care of business and working overtime.
Ishmael catches the punt, bobbles it a little, and only gets 3.
Play out of their quarterback, and you expected that was going to happen. What is happening here? Somebody else is going to have to come to the forefront, or this thing's going to be over.
If you would have told me before the game that this quarterback would have played like this through the first quarter and a half or so, I would have thought this team would have been leading this game. But you're right. Something has got to happen where his teammates, the rest of this group, they've got to raise their game if they want to have any chance of winning this game. Brad, let's see if this offense can maintain the rhythm that they established on that last drive. Not just
All right, shotgun halfback week here as the clock ticks down. Play clock, I should say, and that's a
to try to keep that confidence going here on this drive.
quarterback keeper on the read. Some good blocking, gets 6 yards for Dungy. He can't get into the secondary.
So it's second down now. They need about 4 yards to pick up the first.
Shotgun split here.
He makes his way to about the
And another keeper for Dungy. He gets 11 yards running up the gut.
First and 10. All on the 42-yard line.
And we're looking at a flex bone here for Syracuse. And Strickland in the drag out of the flex bone gets 6 yards. 2nd and 4 from the 37. Ten-point game, just about 2 minutes before the half. 5 wide receivers for the Orange.
That's the last thing they needed to happen was an intercept. They're trying to fight to get back into this game, and to have that miscue, now it's really up to their defense to try to help them out.
And that's a big turnover there for Wake Forest.
Son of a bitch! Give me a drink! Son of a bitch! This can't play me! Son of a bitch! If I can't get clean, I'm gonna drink my life away! Yeah!
Syracuse with the quarter on the field, trying to cover these receivers tightly, but having trouble.
He's going to try and scramble.
Wolford gets 9, but not the first down.
Saw that no one was open, so he made the right decision to tuck it and run.
Short yardage situation here. 2nd down and 1.
And Carney with the outside run gets 4 for first down.
And that's enough for the first.
He got by a couple of defenders and made it to the sticks for the first down.
But Dortch is only only for 3-yard gain. Pitch out to Carney is 0 yards. It's now 3rd and 7 on the 8.
They're at the 8. It's 3rd down.
And Carney gets 0. Syracuse calls another timeout. Big stop there to force the kick. Syracuse with 1:15 and 1 timeout. Have to be careful. Their quarterback is probably cooled off quite a bit from the pick, but they don't have the option of wasting time as Phillips gets to the 22-yard line.
We'll have to see now how the offense responds this time after throwing a pick on their last drive.
So much in football is about how you respond to adversity. Moving forward after a turnover is a perfect example of that.
Play action under heavy pressure.
Ravian Pierce for 14 yards through a needle.
His receiver for a big gain.
Well, give credit here to the receiver for finding that seam and coming up with a nice gain for the offense.
1st and 10.
Out of bounds, stops the clock for Syracuse. Now they have 5 wide on the field. And Dungy is scrambling. And he throws it deep. And a huge gain to the sideline to Ishmael. Absolutely massive play.
It's automatic, baby, and it feels good. And it feels so good. It feels good. And it feels so good.
Syracuse now has 1 minute, 1 timeout, and 23 yards. Ishmael catches the ball and muscles forward for 6. The clock is now live. Looks like they've decided to go to the huddle.
Nobody's going to raise their hand because this receiver is embarrassing them.
We've still got time left here in the second quarter.
As the clock is now at 35 seconds. Strickland gets 13 yards on a great angle route. Great job juking some defenders. It's now 1st and goal from the 4. 1 timeout.
Two-score game, and they can cut that down here if they can get this one in the end zone. They'll spread the field with 5 wide.
And Dungy, under pressure, throws it away. Stops the clock on the 4-yard line. 2nd and goal, 4 yards, 1 timeout. 16 seconds.
Second down and goal. 4 yards out.
Ishmael, drag route, loses a yard. It's now 3rd and goal from the 4th.
You're putting the ball into some sure hands.
From the 4. I'm sorry.
They come out in a 5-wide set. Now he's scrambling.
And his teammate gets in his way, but fortunately for Syracuse, he's bounced out of bounds. It's the 1-yard line. Looks like Syracuse is planning on spending one of their 4th downs here. And it's a smart play as they get the touchdown.
By the power of Grayskull.
And it looks like Strickland is now, at least temporarily, out of the game. I'm sure we'll get medical report at halftime. But Syracuse now within 6.
Only 3 others share this secret.
Big recovery there from the pick to bring it to a 1-score game for Syracuse. Squib kick. And that's the end of the first half.
There's been no lack of scoring here as we've reached halftime. Wake Forest's lead is 6.
Hi, everybody. Glad to have you with us on the EA Sports NCAA Football 14 halftime show presented by Nissan. Innovation that excites. Reese Davis, David Pollack here in the studio as always to lend a little perspective to what just went down in the first 30 minutes. The Demon Deacons recognized this game in the preseason as a great opportunity. They have a chance to put themselves on the map. You win a game like this, and it really, David, it can change the perception of your program, can it?
Yeah, and we see the underdog role being played so much in sports, but this is an underdog. I mean, this is a team that you look at the other guys on the other side, and you don't like them. I mean, you don't like them because all those guys are at a school that you probably wish you could play for. And so it's a huge statement. It's a huge boost of confidence to start the first half like this. They're definitely in a position that they probably, if you would have told them that, they would have been extremely happy. Good position, 30 minutes left, but right now the underdog role is being played to a T.
Just about set to start the second half. What are you looking for?
I'm looking to see which team has that decided schematical advantage.
And if they can find it, they'll blow holes 3 or 4 axe handles wide. Brad and Kirk will be there to call.
And a quick look here at the injury report. Strickland is out for the game, which is a loss, but not a huge one, as we now see what they've got behind him in the depth chart. Strickland, so now Perkins, who is not as quick, but definitely still has the acceleration and the agility. His overall catching is a significant loss, but it's overall not the most. Yeah. Perkins is average. It's not a fatal loss. It's a serious one, but not a fatal one. As now we take a brief halftime.
They've got all the momentum. They had all the momentum. If we can get this opening drive down and score, take the lead. So if we can get down there and take the lead, that field goal, home field goal is start to cover a video.
All right. With the win of the coin toss at the beginning of the game, Wake elected to receive, so it's going to be Syracuse receiving the ball to start the third. They're in a one-score game. They're right where they want to be. They can claw back that momentum right now. Ishmael gets the 17-yard line.
There's still plenty of time to keep running their offense as usual here. I don't think they need to feel any anxiety about trailing. Fires out quickly to the tailback.
Perkins may not be Strickland, but he sure looked like it on that play. Good hands and a great move to get away from the defender, get his body between the ball and the defender as quickly as possible, and get yards after. Indeed, expecting, obviously, that wanting to get Perkins in and warmed up as quickly as possible, keep things moving, As we see great downfield blocking from the Syracuse receivers, and a slide means a 13-14 yard rush for Dungy for not a whole lot of cost. Didn't get hit. Great quarterback keeper and great blocking on the quarterback keeper. As now in Demon Deacon territory, we see the flex bump. 3 down linemen, but they are shifted to screen right. And Dungy trips and only gets 1.
He's brought down there by the senior at linebacker. That won't be the last time today we'll be talking about this young man.
2nd and 9 now. And Ravian Pierce gets 13 yards. PA Power O. Great wide open route by Pierce.
Second and 5. Ball on the 34-yard line.
He was never able to get ahead of steam on that carry.
Perkins on the angle route out of the backfield on 3rd and long gets the touchdown. Not the touchdown, I'm sorry, the first down. It's now 1st and 10 from the 25.
From the 25-yard line. First down.
And great blocking gives Perkins a wide open lane to get 7 yards up the gut. 2nd and 3. It's not quite 2nd and 1, but I don't know any coach that's going to scoff at 2nd and 3.
And this is the ninth play of the current drive.
Ishmael coming in the drag route right to left gets 5 yards and then is stood up. But that's first down. It's 1st and 10 from the 13.
First and 10. Ball on the 13-yard line.
Perkins, out in the flat, gets 5. He's got 3 receptions for 31 yards, it looks like. Getting involved and heated up quickly.
Second and 5 coming up here. Ball on the 9. 5 wide.
Dungy, flushed from the pocket, gets 5 yards and out of bounds. It's 3rd and 1 from the 4.
Here's the 12th play of the drive. In the shotgun and 5 wide out. Quick throw in the end zone, touchdown.
When the East is in the house. Oh my God. Danger. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. Danger. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. When the East is in the house. Oh my God.
Game is now tied at 27, awaiting the extra point.
When the East is in the house. Oh my God. Danger. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. Oh my God.
The kicker on the field. He'll try to put his team up by a point. And he tacks on the extra point. So it's
Recent possessions, Syracuse has outscored Wake 21-3 to take the lead with 2:19 left in the 3rd, and now also leads in total yardage.
28-27. Looks like they're ready for the kick. He kicks it off, and he got all of it.
Finally getting a bit of momentum, Wade takes the knee.
Goes into the end zone, down for a touchback. Syracuse coaches just got to be happy. I love the coaching kids.
I think these coaches love the coaches. A guy like this, and another great performance by him individually and for this offense.
This deficit can be easily overcome, sure. But they have to be thinking if they don't get something going on this series, the burden is going to be felt by their defense. At the corner. And they push him out.
Cade Carney continuing to do a big part of the game for Wake Forest is finally tackled out of bounds. They seem to like these outside runs. And Dortch through a very small window.
Big gain there for the offense. And all that's doing is giving his quarterback more and more confidence.
Yeah, looks like Cam Sereen's first catch makes it 2nd and 2. And a huge tackle for loss on Carney as the defender reads the snap exactly right. It's now 3rd and long.
Gets it out to his receiver in a hurry. And he's level at the 18.
The hurry up is going to keep Syracuse in the dime. And Carney gets another 10.
Out of the field for the official call.
And it's declined because of the first down.
Linemen executed their blocks nicely, and it went for a good game.
It's first down, and they'll be looking for 6 points here. Defense stacked in tight here.
And the toss to Bird way outside. Gets the 7 yards for the touchdown.
He really found his way into the end zone there. Great looking touchdown.
Once you get inside the 10-yard line, this
And they're going for the 2-point conversion here.
So the offense is going to go for 2. They're crowding the line.
And Carney
A 7-play, 75-yard drive.
breaks the tackle and gets the 2-point conversion.
Fred, I thought the offense did a really nice job of mixing up the play calling on that drive. I thought the defense was on its heels most of the drive.
And another touchback.
Wow, close game here. Up and down the field with both these offenses matching with the other side.
It's fun to watch each offense get an opportunity to go out and make plays. And you're right, you almost feel as if one offense feels challenged and has to be able to bounce back, and they've done that.
Last time out, they were able to pick up big chunks of yards through the air. You wonder if they'll go back to that same strategy, or will they start to lean
And Dungy throws it away.
From their own 25-yard line. It's second down.
Dungy with great space.
He's to the 40. He's at midfield.
That's a 33-yard gain. Unfortunately, the defender caught up with it. But that's a massive gain for Dungy. And the Syracuse Orange now in Wake Forest territory.
Here, let's see what the defense does with a 5-wide outlook. Now he's scrambling.
Dungy's going to scramble when nobody's open and runs to the sideline, gets 15 yards without getting tackled.
From the 27-yard line.
But 2 consecutive long runs does mean that Dungy needs a break, so Mahoney is in the heavy set. And Perkins gets 6 when it looked like he might not be getting 1. But looks like
They come out in an empty backfield.
Dungy still heaving.
Now he tries to buy some time.
And he throws it away. So 3rd and 4, 2 seconds left.
So it's third down now, and they're going to need about 4. He's scrambling. 1 quarter to go, and this looks like it could come down to the very end. Wake Forest lead is a touchdown.
4th and 4 from the 21. We're checking the injury report for Dungy. And he is concussed. He is out for the game. Mahoney will be in for the duration. And a second 4th down attempt here for the Orange.
Well, after that injury, we'll get to see the backup quarterback here. He's on the run. Quarterback's going to run it.
And Mahoney gets 11 yards for first and goal on the 9. Big play.
This is the 8th play of the drive.
As Perkins gets stopped in the backfield.
Second down and goal. 10 yards to the end zone. They'll spread the field with 5 wide. He's going to try and scramble.
And Mahoney throws it away.
Feel pressure like that, the worst thing you want to do is just
3rd and goal from the 10.
go into coverage. He got away with one right there. He's very fortunate. Next time he should just throw it away out of bounds.
Here's play number 10 on the drive. Empty backfield. Quarterback in the gun. 5 wide receivers. He scrambled. At the corner. He goes out of bounds. Around the 6-yard
He
line.
gets 4 yards. It's 4th and 6. And he has scrambled quite a bit.
So the offense stays on the
This is the 3rd 4th down attempt for Syracuse this game.
play clock's at 0-0. They just took too long.
Doesn't like the look, won't spend the timeout.
Got to be careful to avoid these. Penalties are a great way to stall out a drive.
And it's the offense that takes the field on 4th down.
4th and goal from the 11.
Tries to thread the needle, and it's not going to work.
And that's the 2nd pick of the game. This time it's on
That off at a better time.
Mahoney.
Decision by the quarterback trying to force that pass, especially at this point in the game.
From their own 7-yard line. 1st down. Wake Forest is up a score. Lets it fly. Makes the catch, and he might take it. Inside the 30. And he's all the way in for
Son of a bitch! Give me a drink! Son of a bitch! This can't be me! Son of a bitch! If I can't get clean, I'm gonna drink my life away! Yeah!
extra point. Everyone's all lined up and ready for the kickoff. Sends it sailing downfield.
Syracuse down by 14.
He's to the 10. He's to the 20. At the 30.
Good blocking gets Ishmael 46 yards. That's good field position to start because Syracuse needs to be fast.
Like watching a tennis match here. Whoever has the ball last, my guess will be the team that wins it.
And here comes the offense. And you got to wonder, that last interception's weighing on the quarterback's mind a little.
This quarterback can make good passes. He just needs to focus on not forcing the ball to his receiver.
He gets sacked on the play. Defense looking for another sack in this 2nd down and long situation. quarterback in the gun with 5 receivers. Now he's scrambling. Into and out long. Nice catch on that.
Big gain to Riley.
35. If they're going to have any chance to pull this one out, they'll need some more fine efforts like the one on that catch.
Great job to get into space, extend the play until Riley was open. 30 yards downfield. Ishmael in the drag for 8.
These short, effective passes are going to help the quarterback's confidence.
And Ishmael gets 27 yards and is tackled just short, but a great play into space. Makes it 1st and goal from the 1.
They'll line up with 5 wide receivers. Goes quickly into the end zone, caught for the touchdown.
By the power of Grayskull.
Syracuse makes it a 1-score game again.
Became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became
It's 5 minutes, 20 seconds
the most
left.
powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret.
This one's going to be down in the end zone for a touchback. And for George, he's had a great game catching the ball.
Well, for all the young wide receivers out there, this is a guy you want to pay attention to. He runs very precise routes. He does a really good job of keeping the defender away from having a chance to make a play on the ball.
When one of your receivers can average 20 yards a catch, your offense is doing something right. Both teams realize that when the ball is snapped, we're one play away from a very different ball game. Here's a handoff.
And Carney loses 3 on 1st down. A great start.
Second and 13. Ball on the 22. Wake Forest is up by a touchdown.
Oh, come on!
Down, nothing doing.
Oh, shit.
Right down to the backfield, but I didn't see what.
Come on! Golly.
A big penalty here.
Man, that was close. It looked like his momentum just carried him to the
Do it
quarterback.
before he threw. Fuck off.
First and 10. Ball on their own 39. Now he tries to buy some time. And he has it on the corner. He decides to run with it.
Yes! Justice! That's fucking justice.
And that's a huge turnover.
Quarterback all by himself in the backfield with 5 wideouts. Quick strike to the receiver. He's at midfield. To the 20. The 10. He gets hit on
And Ishmael gets an incredible 61-yard play, all yards after.
Well, this is it. They've got all 4 downs to get in the end zone.
And Mahoney starts him off well with 8 yards. 2nd and goal from the 2.
They're trying to stop the run here with a goal line defense.
And Perkins gets the touchdown. And that's a bang-bang tie. 42 all. 4:02 left. Wake ball.
Well, I think the great thing that he's been able to do is spread the football around. It's not just been one receiver. When you can find more receivers, it makes it much easier to move the ball down the field.
A fumble really hurt this team's last drive, so let's see if they can make up for that blunder on this drive.
Anytime you give the ball away, it's a disappointment. So these guys want to show that they can hang on to it.
He's to the 40. The 50. Here he goes. At the 30.
And Cade Carney breaks another half dozen tackles. Upside for Syracuse. They got all the time in the world.
Every time he touches the ball, he's capable of tearing one off like that.
He makes the PAT. And it looks like they're ready for the kickoff. He just drills this one.
Another good return here from Ishmael. It's looking better. It's looking even better. And Ishmael gets his 5th return, 90 yards for a touchdown.
Do it now. Let's go.
And once again, we have a tie ball game. Hoffrichter kicks deep in the end zone. And a touchback.
This one's going to be down in the end zone for a touchback. Man, hang on to your hats, folks, because both these offenses are in gear right now.
Well, the way these guys are executing right now, it could come down to just which defense can come up with one stop.
So their last drive resulted in 6 points. Do you think we'll see the same result on this one?
They ran the ball extremely well in their last drive. And until this defense figures out how to stop it, I think they'll have no problem moving the ball down the field.
Around the 36-yard line.
Perfect play against that defense. Going the wrong way. 20 yards. Carney gets a loss of 2 that time.
It's second down, 12 to go. Ball on the 47-yard line.
Oh, come on.
He's at the 30. There he goes. Touchdown.
this team has put themselves in a position where they have to hope for some heroic.
Starting on the 14,
They played sloppy most of the game. They're
just under 3 minutes.
chance to be able to win this game.
Both teams realize that when the ball is snapped, we're one play away from a very different ball game.
Mahoney is running it.
Now he's going to run and watch it.
Out of bounds, 14 yards.
The 28, and that was a nice pickup by the quarterback.
Brad, I think this guy's amazing. He has an uncanny ability to scramble, and it showed right there on that play.
First and 10. Ball on the 28-yard line. 5 guys will be out in the pattern as they're
Clock is now moving.
What the fuck was that, Mahoney? You
Mo-
gotta be fucking kidding me! The fuck was that? Jesus! The fuck was that, Mahoney?
No, they really didn't need that.
And as a quarterback,
God
if you
damn
can't
it.
give up an interception late in the game, you got to be more careful with the football.
It's horrible.
From the 36-yard line. First down. And the goal line defense digging in here.
And Cade Carney gets 10 yards up the gut through a goal line defense, of all things.
Mahoney? What the fuck?
A little more than 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Here comes the pressure.
And Wolford is sacked for -9.
Job of avoiding the rush, because sacks can be real drive killers.
That was what Syracuse needed. They need a turnover here.
So the sack makes this a second and long. Let's see, do one of the linemen move first?
Really? Really?
So the offense will move a little bit closer with that penalty.
How often is that fucking call? Give me a fucking break. Please, give me a break. You gotta be, this is ridiculous.
It's second down now and 14 to go. Ball on the 30-yard line. Inside the 10.
I can't believe, like,
Splits the uprights.
he was throwing well. Like, he should have been, it was his ninth pass. Like, it wasn't his third. He had a touchdown pass. And you're like, what the fuck was with that throw?
Everyone's all lined up and ready for the kickoff. He kicks it off, and he got all of that one. Room around the corner. At the 30. He's out of bounds, right around the 40. Let's see what they can do on offense.
Phillips gets good field position, 40-yard
A
line.
lot of time left in this game, Brad. They've got to score down 2 possessions, and they need to score as fast as they can, and then recover an onside kick and hope to be able to have a shot to tie this game.
Fires that to his receiver. He's tackled right around the 34.
Ishmael for 26.
We're down to our final minute of this ball game. They'll spread the field with 5 wide.
And the defender gets a hand in.
They got a hand on it. Nice job getting a hand on that one.
Yeah, really good heads-up play there to get a hand on the football by the defense.
Why you're not in that formation? Who's the backup who's tired? The
They come out in an empty backfield. Fires complete over the middle. Huge gain.
Great gain by Phillips, 34 yards into the red zone.
We have less than a minute to go. He's going to try and
And Mahoney just throws it away.
I just think this quarterback's got to do a much better job of being able to read that defense and make quicker decisions, especially when the defense starts to get pressure. You've got to either get rid of that football or check it down or take off and run with it.
from the 1-yard line. Second down. The quarterback in the gun. Empty backfield. 5 laterals. End zone. Touchdown. And he converts the extra point. It was a 5-play, 61-yard drive. And the result, 7 points.
And a huge contribution from the aerial attack. Boy, they had some nice big pass plays on that drive.
And Wake gets the receives the onside.
Absolute roll. 21 straight points, and the defense has no answer for it.
Syracuse does have 3 timeouts.
The whistle hasn't sounded yet. They still have to snap the ball and make sure they don't make any mistakes.
Guessed that
He gets
shit.
to about the 34-yard line. Syracuse.
I fucking guessed. I called the fucking bear and I guessed the shit. Fuck off. Oh, God damn, this is frustrating.
He's at the 20. He's on the run. He's all the way home. Touchdown. And he tacks on the extra point. Wake Forest ready to kick this one off. Excellent kick. Well, some offensive fireworks from both teams right now, Kirk. Both defenses on their heels, and they're just trying to catch their breath out there. These offenses have been brilliant. And here comes the offense again. They'll try to make it 2 touchdowns in 2 possessions.
Well, I think this defense has got to do something because right now the quarterback is in such a good rhythm that you've got to do something to try to get him out of it. I would suggest
A huge leaping catch there for Ravian Pierce.
to try to get him on his heels as opposed to being the aggressor.
You're seeing the hurry up.
They'll spread the field here. Let's see what the defense does with a 5-wide outlook.
Mahoney runs.
Now he's scrambling.
First down and out of bounds. Stop the clock at the 12-second mark
The 29-yard line.
after 21 yards on the ground.
From the 29-yard line, it's first down. They come out in a 5-wide set.
Pierce, 29 yards for the touchdown.
Only a 1-score difference.
When the East is in the house. Oh my God. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. When the East is in the house. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And down he goes at the 43-yard line. For Syracuse, their pass rush has really been impressive today, Kirk. This defense has been bringing the blitz and is having success getting to him.
They also have that one takeaway.
Well, when this offense does complete a pass, they're not doing that badly.
Yeah, the secondary and linebackers aren't able to make the play at the point of catch a lot of times.
There's a sliver of hope left. But it's going to take a solid stand, or better yet, a giant defensive play. And offense is back on the field after running the ball very well on their last drive.
This offensive line really opened up some big gaps for the running back last time.
Favorite play in football of your quarterback?
Two out of three? Oh, yeah, I got at least two out of three.
And that is Syracuse's second loss of the season. Same scoreline, 70 to 63. Big losses injury-wise in the second half, but also turnovers, a killer. Nope, we just got sawed. Do you still want it? All right.
We took the lead, but we could never get out of the momentum hole.
Yep.
I mean, it was such a thin margin, like early on.
Yeah.
Such a thin margin.
Thank you for joining us. That was a barn burner of a game. We're going to take a few minutes and then come right back, probably 10 minutes or so, with our second of our doubleheader. It's going to be Central Michigan at Annapolis.
Good afternoon, sports fans. We're back for game 2 of our doubleheader after myself and the Syracuse Orange suffered a second 70-63 loss. Once again, we do have the sliders set as hard as they can almost possibly be. They are the common toughest sliders. And then, of course, we've got our 2017 rosters downloaded. And many of the CPU teams better than our user teams. We've got very few user teams that rate out better than their opponents. We chose 3-star or below. We've got 2 3-star teams facing off in this matchup. It is a user battle. An exciting matchup between 2 of the 7 users in League 1. Blitzkrieg versus Ninja. Ninja, of course, who gave you the play-by-play commentary on my game, the first half of the doubleheader. This will see 2 users hungry for a win. A 1-6 team versus a 2-4 team. Once again, difficult to get wins here in these first seasons. We're hoping to recruit well enough to build up our teams to compete. As it stands now, Central Michigan coming into the game with a 23rd ranked offense and the 17th ranked passing attack. Low ranked on defense. Meanwhile, Navy does have a highly rated rushing defense in the 6th in the country. And we look to see a competitive game between these 2 users. Coach Blitzkrieg versus Coach Ninja. We're here at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium for a midshipman home game.
He picks the win.
First play of the game, Devin Spalding gets 3 yards up the gut. It's going to bring up 2nd and 7 from the 35 on the left hash mark as these 2 teams get underway. They faced each other a few times before. We are, of course, in season 12. Both of these members logging 8 or more seasons each. While Coach Ninja has the better overall record, including 1 national championship. Surprisingly, Coach Blitzkrieg has a good record against Coach Ninja, stealing a couple of wins, including one with a heavily rated underdog team against Coach Ninja in the year that he won the national championship. Almost picked off by Sean Williams. Instead, he gets the deflection. It is going to bring up 4th down. And the Chippewas of Central Michigan forced to punt.
You know why that happened?
All 2 of 'em. 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 It's a good high punt. It's going to land at the 10 and into the end zone. That beautiful checkered blue and yellow end zone here at Navy Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland. The Chesapeake Bay just a few hundred yards away from the stadium.
The quarterback brings his troops out onto the field for the first drive of the game.
Navy coming out in a shotgun set with one halfback. Caught by Bonner out of the backfield. Gets tackled after a 17-yard gain as Lewis gets his first completion on his first pass for a good, fair distance. 37-yard line, the marker. Right hash. We'll see what these two teams do here with a fresh set of downs. 4 down linemen for Central Michigan. It's a run up the gut, and he's smacked. Bonner gets a loss of 1. Put on his butt. We call that a green butting when he gets grass stains on his rear end.
From their own 36-yard line.
2nd 11 down in distance. Navy on their opening drive. Hits Lee on the out route. He picks up 4. Going to set up 3rd and 7 for the Middies. These two teams with 3 wins between the two of them, hungry for a win. Navy would like to inch closer to a 500 record, try to make themselves bowl eligible. Central Michigan would like nothing more than to spoil the party and get their 2nd win of the year. Back to pass, in coverage, but high, makes the catch. The fullback, one of the stars of the Navy team, highly rated player, strong fullback, able to receive the ball out of the backfield. A jack of all trades. Across the 50-yard line, the Middies go down to the 42-yard line, coming out in a shotgun set with a single back. Central Michigan set up in a 4-man front. Bonner tackled for a loss once again. This time it's 3 yards as Navy was ready for the run that time. Sorry, Central Michigan ready for the run that time. Stuffing it for a big loss. Now going to be 2nd and half a mile. 13 yards to go before the first down.
So it's 2nd and 13. Ball on the 45-yard line. In the shotgun and 5 wide out.
Multiple receivers. Spread set for the midshipman. Lewis back to pass. Gets tackled as he's throwing. That affects the pass. It's going to be an incompletion and bring up 3rd and long. 13 yards to go from the 45.
So we're looking at another 3rd down here.
Lewis back to pass, hits Lee, gets the first down. A huge conversion on 3rd and 13. And Navy in scoring range here at the 28-yard line. Twin tight end set against the four-man front. Navy back to pass. Hits Carmona on the drag route. The wide receiver playing the position of tight end number 2, that left side tight end, out of the eye tight. Carmona, a big, strong receiver, able to double as a backup tight end. Maybe really with just one true tight end on their roster this year as they're redshirting some futures. The run up the gut gets close to the first down, but not quite. Going to be 3rd and inches. Gut check time for both teams from the 19-yard line.
Play of the drive. They'll spread the field here. Let's see what the defense does with a 5-wide outlook.
Cologne with the catch this time against a goal line set. Breaks the school record for receptions in a season. And Lewis off to a 6 out of 7 start. Gets Navy to the 6-yard line here in the early going of a scoreless game.
It's first down, and they'll be looking for 6 points here. Everybody bunched up tight defensively.
1st and goal from the 6. Lewis back to pass, hits Bonner out of the backfield. He's tackled just shy of the end zone. It's a 5-yard gain, going to be 2nd and 1 now.
This is the 12th play of this drive. They're crowding the line.
Read option, and Lewis squeezes the ball into the end zone. It's 6-0 here in the early going. First quarter, first points of the ball game on Navy's opening drive, and they take the initial lead here by 1 possession. A 12-play, 77-yard drive on the opening possession of the ball game for the Middies. Sees them drive the ball down the field, convert a couple of 3rd downs. Central Michigan unable to come up with a stop along the way, and now looking to respond.
The kicker there in an onside kick formation.
Could you hear me giving you the alarm?
From his own goal line. He's to the 20. He gets out to about the 22.
Points on the board for Navy. 7-0 the lead.
And then put those wide receivers in one-on-one opportunities against
25-yard gain starts the drive off for the Chippewas.
vulnerable to a big play against a good offense.
That's a run to the right. It's wide open. A surprise play for Central Michigan as Shane Morris picks up 38 yards. And awaiting the extra point, we've got a potential tie ball game.
The extra point to tie this game.
Big play off the right side. Big drive. 2 plays, 62 yards.
He makes the PAT.
34 and 28 on those two plays for the Chippewas.
Looks like they're ready for the kick. He really got a hold of that kick. And it goes into the end zone, down for a touchback. Let's find out if the defense has made any adjustments after giving up a touchdown on that last drive.
Great passing was the key for the offense the last time they had the ball. They were able to pick apart the defense and get down the field for a touchdown.
Caught by Bonner, defender down on the field, and could potentially be a face mask. It is indeed Amari Coleman picking up the 15-yard penalty after the play. That's going to be a big play for Navy, taking them all the way down to the Central Michigan 39-yard line here in the closing dying embers of the first quarter. Run up the gut for the midshipman. It's met by two defenders. Only a 1-yard gain by Bonner. Going to bring up 2nd and 9. As we see the final seconds ticking off the clock. Could be probably the last play of the first quarter. It will be indeed. These two teams entering the second frame in a tie ball game. Navy with the football, though, looking to take the lead back. Run up the gut by Bonner, met once again by a stiff defensive charge. It's a 1-yard gain, now going to bring up 3rd and long. It's 9 yards to go from the 38.
Back to the action here in the second quarter. It's been a good one and a tight one at this point. 5 guys will be out in the pattern.
Navy in a spread set. The Chippewas respond with one of their own. Lewis back to pass, and it's inaccurate. Just his second incompletion of the day. But on 3rd down, it's going to force Navy to make a tough decision here. 38-yard line, 4th and 9, and they're going to choose looks like a punt. Smells like a punt. Sounds like a punt. Must be a punt. It's a fumble, but Central Michigan recovers. They're going to get possession back after a momentary scare at their own 14-yard line. Tie ball game, 7:15 to go in the second quarter. 4-man front by Navy, facing off against the shotgun split big, and it's a halfback give up the gut. Devin Spalding gets 3. Going to bring up 2nd and 7. Completion there. Spalding another play. Picks up 14 yards on his first catch of the day. Now 1st and 10. Central Michigan's football at their own 30. You see a few empty seats there in the end zone for Navy. Certainly a couple of sophomores and underclassmen with patrol duty today, unable to make the football game.
second down now, and they need about 4 yards to pick up the first.
Handoff to the left side, met by many defenders. Going to be a result of a loss of 2. Now going to bring up 3rd and 6. The Chippewas coaching staff, of course, coming into Annapolis with a gift of cherries for the Naval Academy. The Michigan fruit in season right now. Caught by the fullback, Hunter Buskowski, with his first play of the game. A 9-yard catch out of the backfield. Going to get Central Michigan a first down out to the 43-yard line. A 3rd down conversion there here in the first half for the Chippewas. We got a tight ball game here in the early going. Both teams still trying to feel each other out. You see the yardage close at 103 and 95. Buskowski up the gut, picks up 2. Now going to be 2nd and 8. Looks like we'll see the 4-man front once again for the Middies. As Central Michigan coming out with an I formation. Quick throw out to the wideout. Corey Willis with his first catch of the day, keeping the defense honest.
Here's the 8th play of the series. He gets out to about the 38-yard line. A couple, maybe 3 yards on that run.
Spalding picks up 3, down to the 38-yard line of the Middies.
From the 38-yard line. 2nd down.
Play action pass under heavy pressure, and Central Michigan lucky to get the ball off on that play. Fortunate to have no gain. Could have been an ugly one. Could have put them in quite a hole on 3rd down, but it is still 3rd and long for the midshipman defense. Complete to Conklin over the middle, his 2nd catch of the day. Going to be a first down at the 19-yard line. Central Michigan converting on the 3rd and long. Both of the 2 prior games between these 2 teams resulting in a 1-touchdown football game. They know each other. They're fairly well matched. The main difference being Coach Ninja's acumen against CPU opponents. He's got a lot more career victories. But Coach Blitzkrieg tends to bring a decent football game in user games. He's caused a number of our other user coaches some difficulty in some of these user matchups. You see there, once again, Central Michigan facing another 3rd and long. And the Navy defense coming up with a big incompletion there to force it. Another long 3rd down conversion Conklin's third catch of the day. Now going to put Central Michigan inside the 20, well inside the 20, down to the 7.
First down, and they've got their eyes on that goal line.
21 feet from the end zone.
Trying to stop the run here with a goal line defense.
Up the gut, and it's going to get about half the distance, so call it 3. Second and goal coming up as Navy calls their first timeout. They want to save a little bit of time for their own 2-minute drill and prevent the Chippewas from milking the clock.
Number 15 of a very impressive drive. There are 5 wide receivers split out.
5 wide. We'll see what the Chippewas do. It's a completion for a touchdown, and Central Michigan takes the lead for the first time in the ball game. Morris now 7 out of 10 with a touchdown here in the first half. We've still got a lot of football game left to go, but a 15-play, 81-yard drive sees the Chippewas take the lead 14-7. 1:46 on the clock for the midshipmen to go to work on their own 2-minute drill with 2 timeouts.
To kick this one away.
Carmona takes it from the 3. He's upfield, outside the 20. Gets to about the 21. We'll see where they spot it. They're going to call it the 20.
With 1 quarter down, I really haven't seen too much separation between these two squads.
And now Navy coming out with a spread set of their own. Central Michigan responds with a spread defense and backs up the secondary. Interception by Central Michigan.
At the 27.
Heavy coverage, a little bit behind him, is a recipe for a poor play on Navy's part. We'll see if the midshipman defense can answer the call. Handoff up the gut, gets a few, 4 yards. And now Central Michigan calls their first timeout. 55 seconds on the clock. The ball's at the 24-yard line. Once again, facing a third down. Complete to Conklin. He's inside the 10, down to the 6-yard line. 4 third down conversions so far here in the first half for the Chippewas. 48 seconds and counting once the ball is placed by the officials. We'll see what they do. It's a run to the left side. It doesn't get much. Spalding 0 yards. They're going to call it. Now 2nd and goal.
Second down, goal to go. Ball on the 6-yard line. Empty backfield.
Spread set for the Chippewas.
5 wide receivers.
Complete but tackled immediately. It's a 2-yard catch
Central Michigan will have 1 timeout remaining.
as Central Michigan now faces 3rd and goal from the 4 with just 6 seconds remaining. They're going to line up for the field goal here.
Up 7 points.
Take the 10-point lead, 17-7. You got the sense Navy might have been thinking about calling a timeout with less than a minute remaining on the initial goal-to-go play, but a Belichickian election not to call the timeout results in Central Michigan being forced to kick the field goal on third down. However, certainly they're happy to have the 2-score lead going into the break.
Played a half of football. The Chippewas.
We're going to have a 2-minute pit stop break for halftime. We'll be back in 120 seconds.
Reese and David, welcome back, everybody. Just about set to start the second half.
Deep to return.
It's fielded at the 2. He's to the 20, and he makes it out to about...
Second half now underway. A 20-yard return by Carmona. Going to get us started as Navy down 17-7 with half the game remaining.
This offense right now. They don't have the luxury of wasting drives if they want to get back in the game.
Caught by Bonner. The defender dives, unable to make the tackle. It's going to result in a larger gain after the catch. 11 yards, it looks like, subsequent to the reception, as the nearby defender dove to deflect the ball, unable to do so, took himself out of the play. Bonner up the gut, picks up 2. 7.5 remaining in the third. 2nd and 8, the down and distance.
Second down, 8 yards to go. Ball on the 44. And they make
Middle linebacker making the tackle after a 3-yard gain. Now going to be 3rd and 5 for the Middies. Just 1 minute gone in the third frame. 47-yard line, the down and distance, 5 yards. Navy looking to get across the logo. It is complete to Lee. An out route to the right side. Big yards after the catch. 25-yard gain off a 5-yard catch. Huge play. Going to set them up with 1st and 10 on the 28-yard line. The right hash, the marker. As Navy looking to pull within 1 score.
First down.
Lewis is sacked. He refrained from throwing the ball. There were 2 defenders right near the preferred receiver. And the sack, the better play versus a potential interception. It is, however, going to set up Navy with a 2nd and 18. They're going to have to claw their way back here and at least get back into field goal range.
They find themselves in a hole here after that sack. It's 2nd and long.
Lewis back to pass. Hits the crossing route. The drag route picks up 8 of the 18. Puts Navy at the 28-yard line. Going to be an interesting play here on 3rd and long. A few yards will almost guarantee a field goal. A first down, obviously the preferred result. If they have to kick it from here, it might be a little dicey. So we'll see what Navy does here on this key 3rd and 10. Hits the slant route. Scott gets the first down. It's a 17-yard gain. Big play by the midshipman. Caught on the drag route. Lee walks into the end zone. Gets tackled after the fact. He was wide open over the middle, coming from left to right across your radio dial. And Navy pulling within 3, awaiting the extra point.
The defensive coordinator's got to be beside himself. You know, you work all week long on studying the offense and their tendencies.
There it is, 17-14 your score line. Central Michigan now going to have the ball with a chance to respond. The kick with the wind. And in the process of catching, the returner's back leg coming out of the back of the end zone, going to result in the touchback automatically before even the knee. 25-yard line, the marker following the touchback. Central Michigan, of course, coming up with a big turnover in the second quarter just before the half that resulted in their 2-score lead. Now, though, back under pressure themselves, facing 2nd and 10, following the first down, no gain. Audibling from a tight set to a spread set. We'll see what they do. It's a completion. Gets a few yards after the catch. Spalding, the running back, able to break a tackle following the reception with that running back break tackle. Now going to be 1st and 10 on the 36-yard line, the left hash. Central Michigan, you see Morris, 10 out of 13. And it looks like Central Michigan's player going to be out for a significant amount of time. A shoestring tackle on Morris saves a huge play. Instead, it's a big play of 16 yards. But an injury to a Central Michigan player going to result in an 11-week absence. That counts him out for the rest of the season. Central Michigan, of course, 1-6.
Who's that's out?
Slim favorites to make a bowl game. Number 45, the player for Central Michigan who's out. Quite potentially a defender.
And down he goes at the 43-yard line.
Thomas on the tackle at the 43-yard line. That brings up 2nd and 5.
It's 2nd and 5 here. Ball on the 43-yard line.
Spread set, and there goes Spalding. Picks up the first down and a few more. 35-yard line, the marker. Left hash. We'll see what Navy responds with here. Looks like it's going to be a 4-3 defense. Facing off against a spread set for the Chippewas. Interception by Navy, an ill-advised throw. Poor decision by the Central Michigan quarterback to throw that ball into coverage. He was about to get sacked, and you saw earlier, Navy elected to take the sack and face 2nd and 18. In this case, Central Michigan, under a heavy rush, was worried about the sack, threw the ball up for grabs, and it's going to result in the second turnover of the ball game, and it's going to even the turnover battle at 1-1. Navy's going to take the ball over with a chance to take the lead. Out of the backfield is High, the fullback. Tackled in space, gets a 16-yard gain.
He brought every linebacker, and the quarterback was still able to convert the first down.
From their own 45-yard line. First down.
It's the read option. Lewis picks up a good 7 yards. Now going to be 2nd and 3. Just across the midfield stripe at the 48-yard line of the Chippewas. 17-14, 1 minute and 30 and change remaining in the third quarter. Out of the backfield, Bonner makes the catch. It's enough for the first down. Extends the ball past the marker. Going to be a fresh set of downs on the Central Michigan 45 as the midshipmen cross the midfield stripe, entering Chippewa territory.
First and 10. Ball on the 45.
These two users, 2 of the 7 coaches in League One, facing off against each other after multiple times. High, another reception, this time for 12. That's his 3rd catch of the day for 46 yards. He's been a key part in the Navy passing game on the day. Less than a minute remaining in the third quarter as we approach the final frame. Tipped ball. Might have worked out the Navy's benefit. We don't know. We think maybe a defender was covering the receiver quite well. Nevertheless, it does result in 2nd and long for the midshipmen. They're at the 33-yard line, just a little bit out of field goal range to tie this ball game up. They'd like to take the lead. They'd also like another first down.
From the 33-yard line, it's second down.
Heavy rush. Central Michigan has multiple defenders in the backfield and 2 near the receiver. Going to hold them to a short gain just after the catch. They tackle him. Now going to be 3rd and 6 from the 29-yard line. Another interesting field position situation for the Middies.
And this is the 8th play of the drive. They'll line up with 5 wide receivers.
Scott once again, and that's the second time on 3rd and long that the slant route out of the middle slant has resulted in a key first down on 3rd and long. Navy converting now at the 14-yard line as we begin the 4th quarter. Here in the 4th quarter, Central Michigan going to have their opportunity to respond. But 2 scores by Navy.
Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got the real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. Alright.
Harris looks ready to kick this one off.
Big grin by Coach Ninja as the cheering section of the midshipmen
Across midfield.
celebrates the touchdown
3-yard line. Not sure what
with Bugs Bunny's favorite anthem.
get out of the field and find out.
Going to be clipping on the call. That's a massive penalty, about a 50-yard penalty. They were going to have possession inside the Navy 40. Instead, it's on their own 15. However, with 7:10 remaining, all the time in the world for Central Michigan to execute their normal offense.
Who can prevail, the offense or the defense? We're about to find out who's going to win it in this drive.
Up the gut goes the quarterback. Picks up a good solid 6 yards. It's going to give them a comfortable 2nd and 4.
So it's second down now. They need about 4 yards to pick up the first. Nice run there. That was a good play by the halfback. Picked up about 5 yards.
3rd and inches. Key play coming here.
Quarterback all by himself in the backfield with 5 wide out.
Quarterback keeper. A page out of Coach Ninja's own playbook. Going to result in a first down. You bring out the 5 wide receivers and you take off with the quarterback, and nobody expects it if it's a designed run up the gut.
I thought it was a possibility.
That's going to take it out to the 34-yard line. 5.5 minutes remaining.
34-yard line. First down.
Smithy, it is a 360. That's the only way you can play this game. NCAA 14 unavailable on the Xbox One or the PS4. This is a 360 game and a PS3 game. We're playing on 360. This is the 12th season of League One. 7 users who all know each other in real life. We've got California facing off against Virginia here with Central Michigan at Navy.
He's on the run. He's under pressure. He steps out. Right
Breaks a tackle, picks up a couple. For they're wondering, we do have the 2017 rosters for college football. For example, Saquon Barkley, the running back for Penn State, and Lamar Jackson, quarterback for Louisville. Sack, a huge sack by Navy. Big play on the defensive side of the ball. Good coverage results in the sack, and Central Michigan forced to call a timeout. 3:54 remaining. Really tough decision here from their own 30-yard line.
It's fourth down, and the offense is getting set to go for it.
User coaches allowed 12 fourth downs throughout the season. Here's one here. Incompletion. That's going to give Navy the football. I believe that's Central Michigan's 12th fourth down attempt of the season. They are now out of fourth down attempts. You're permitted a straight 12 fourth down attempts. You have 12 regular season games, so it's an average of 1 per game. And that prevents really any questions. Coaches are allowed to use them whenever they like, but they have 12 for the regular season. Bonner stuck in the backfield. Going to be 2nd and 12 now, but the clock is ticking. 3:36 and counting.
From the 32-yard line. Second down. There are flags all over the place. Here's the call from the head referee.
That's going to be an encroachment penalty. Cancevelos coming across the line of scrimmage. Going to be 2nd and 7 now on the 27. That's just about the range of Navy's kicker. It does stop the clock momentarily. We'll see what happens on this play. Back to pass goes Lewis. It's complete to High. He's got the first down and the touchdown, and that puts Navy ahead by 2 scores. It's a big return for Central Michigan. That alters the complexion of this ball game. The quick score going to result in Central Michigan having the opportunity to draw within 3. We'll see what they do here on the 2-point conversion, whether or not they go for it. It's 2:58 remaining in the football game. They're lining up for the extra point. We'll see what happens.
Just under 3 to go in regulation.
The kick is up and good. 28-24. Central Michigan holding out hope that if they can hold Navy to 0 or 3, that they're still in this ball game. There's 2:58 remaining. Going to be interesting to see what each coach does. Here comes the onside attempt.
Central Michigan is lining up for the onside kick here.
Recovered by Navy. Down to the 41-yard line. That's outside of field goal range. Central Michigan with 2 timeouts. We'll see what Navy elects to do on the offensive side of the ball.
So early in the fourth quarter in a very, very tight football game, and the game could hinge on this possession.
Complete to Bonner out of the backfield again, and it's going to be another touchdown. That's the second time that Navy has hit the halfback out of the backfield on a passing play when Central Michigan was undoubtedly looking for the run. Some crafty play calling by Navy here in the late stages of the football game. 2:49 remaining. Central Michigan does hang on to their 2 timeouts. They've got those in their back pocket. But time beginning to run short.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
He's to the 20. He's out of bounds around the 28-yard line. We're about set to start things up again. Less than 3 minutes in the game. And they hit him in the backfield. He's scrambling. Going right.
Diving interception. That's the second one of the game. That was a close play. But once again, under pressure, Central Michigan throwing the ball up for grabs rather than running or taking the sack. And anytime you throw the ball up for grabs against good teams or good users or good computer teams, you're going to have problems. It's going to result in the second turnover for Central Michigan, and Navy now looking to close out this ball game with the twin tight end set. They're back to pass, hitting the crossing route. Carmona wide open. Another defender dives, and Carmona down inside the 20, inside the 15. A huge play. Big offensive yardage for Navy here in the second half. Down to the 14-yard line, 2:12 remaining. Central Michigan on their heels. They're going to need to hold Navy to 3 here to have any kind of chance.
Taken down at the 12-yard line. A 2-yard run by the halfback. Central Michigan's going to have to use their second time out of the half. Second and 8. Ball on the 12. Less than 2 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Lewis on the keeper. 1 yard outside the end zone.
First and goal from the 1. Expect to see something straight up the middle. They're packed in tight on the line.
Touchdown, Navy. That stretches the lead to 3 scores, awaiting the extra point.
You know the offense will be looking to do better this time out.
And I don't think this defense will lay down lightly. They're going to try to continue to rattle this guy.
Just over a minute left. And he's immediately tackled.
Makes the tackle. Call it a gain of 21 yards. First down.
Here's a running play. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. And he's finally knocked out of bounds at the 15.
Gain of 28 yards. That makes it first and 10.
First down, 10 yards to go. Ball on the 15-yard line. Now he's scrambling. Quick strike, tight end, and that's a touchdown. The tight end scored that time, and with authority.
Brady's a physical football player, but he's also got the finesse to make a big impact in the passing game.
He makes the PAT.
Point attempt is good.
Looks like we're about to see the most exciting play in football, the onside kick. And he just got stood up right there.
It's what they had to do, and everybody in the stadium knew it was coming. Such small odds for recovery in that case.
This offense threw the ball extremely well on their last drive, and they ended up with a touchdown.
I think the defense right now is just sitting back on their heels. They're allowing the offense to kind of dictate things to them. And one thing is that any defensive coordinator will tell you in the country, you have to be the one trying to dictate things to the offense. So change it up. Try something different. If it's not working, you can't continue to sit back on your heels.
The quarterback takes a knee, and that's always a good sign if you're a fan of this team.